damn temper tantrum about this fight because you don't feel good about it, or exhibition, or event, or circus, or whatever you guys want to call it, all right, with Jake Paul. And it's because you feel insecure. You don't feel confident about the decision that you're making to fight Jake Paul. We all know why you're doing it. We all know, many of us, we actually get it. You feel insecure because you're a part of the boxing culture. You came up with these young guys. You feel like they're big brother Shakur, Devin Haney, Tia, all those guys, and those guys are starting to surpass you now, all right? And the type of moves that you're making, you just don't feel secure about.
Davis retires from boxing, he's got to be one of the biggest wastes of talent in boxing. He's got everything: skill, IQ, power, and he's a southpaw. He's one of the best counter punchers in the game, but inactivity has killed his career. His life outside of boxing has been far from clean, and yet again he's facing another domestic violence charge. It's a disgrace and a waste. Please let me know what you think, and if you're a fan of boxing, make sure to follow.
I mean, if he want to retire with the career that he got, then go ahead and do whatever you got to do. So I disagree with it. I think it's soft, but
what changed? What made this shit trash, garbage?
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will?
It's very simple. Knock Jake out. The fight is ridiculous between you and Jake Paul. Yes. Are we gonna watch it? Yeah. Do we like it? Maybe. Maybe. God, man, Jesus, yada, 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 da, 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 I'm on X, I'm saying this. I'm gonna take my ball and go home. I ain't gonna do this no more. Other than that, it's kind of interesting. You have a 5'5" lightweight versus a heavyweight Jake Paul, who's really not a boxer with an amateur background and all that shit, but he's been knocking people out. It's kind of interesting if we knew y'all were trying to knock each other's heads.
25 is at the next year. I'm out of it.
After our second fight. You're out of it?
Yeah.
Care to elaborate on that?
Out of the sport.
After our second.
You find yourself staring at one of the strangest headlines in modern boxing. Gervonta Tank Davis says he's retiring after his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. For years, Davis has been one of the brightest lights in the sport, a gifted southpaw with knockout power, sharp counterpunching, and natural charisma. Yet instead of a farewell against another elite fighter, he's walking away after a spectacle few thought possible. When pressed on why, Davis didn't hide his frustration. He explained that boxing has become dead, corrupted by business decisions and promotional battles that leave fans without the matchups they crave. "We change. We made this trash. Garbage," he admitted, signaling his disappointment not only with the industry, but with the way his own career has unfolded. For someone who once looked like the future face of the sport, his disillusionment speaks volumes. Reactions have been sharp across the fight world. Shakur Stevenson wasted little time labeling Davis's move as weak. If you want to retire with the career that he got, then go ahead and do whatever you got to do. I disagree with it. I think it's soft, but that's on him. For Stevenson, there are still plenty of challenges at the top of the sport, and Davis leaving now feels like an escape rather than a statement. Showbiz, the adult, went further, describing Tank's decision to fight Jake Paul as insecurity disguised as business. He argued that Davis doesn't feel like the chosen one anymore, watching fighters like Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez surge ahead in relevance. You're having a damn temper tantrum about this fight because you don't feel good about it. You feel insecure because those guys are starting to surpass you now.
Davis is a lot smaller, but he's a real serious fighter.
I'm predicting a third-round knockout.
Ooh.
Third
round knockout.
He's out of there. Listen, I don't know what's the bigger joke, that fight or Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, this is honestly just disappointing. As a boxing fan, to just keep seeing these circuses happen over and over again.
It's actually embarrassing just to see what Tank chose to do instead of doing what a real fighter should have done. You know, everybody seen what happened. Everybody seen that Roach deserved to be champion. He should have given him that rematch. That fight is the one that should be happening. There's no way, you know. For me, it's embarrassing just to see that. But I go back to the same thing. It's business. He's making a lot of money. I have a lot of fighters. I have people involved in boxing that I'm one phone call away. But personally, I'm not okay with that fight. I think Tank should be fighting Roach and giving us that fight because that's what we all want.
Tank. I enjoy these fucking stupid spectacles. I enjoy them. I'm excited for it. The controversy, the press conference, the weigh-ins. Imagine those two stand next to each other.
Yeah.
Dude, Jake is a big motherfucker. It's basically like you two standing next to each other. Like if you guys stood up, it looks like that. Steiny's a little bit taller than Gervonta.
But I'm a feisty bro. It's not about the size of the dog. It's about this.
This is not the face of boxing because he doesn't fight often. He fights once a year. And he's probably one of the best talents in the world. I love Tank Davis. I love watching him fight. I love when he goes in the ring and just demonstrates power and speed and he doesn't give a I love
That's crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
That's
Paul,
boxing right now.
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They're all has to fight more often. We want to see Tank fight 3-4 times a year. Tank Davis, I dare you to break my record. 5 world title fights in 1 year. Let's go. You think he's lost?
His message was blunt. The only way to fix it is to knock Jake Paul out. For Paul, the approach has been the opposite. Instead of sulking, he's doubled down on preparation. Reports surfaced that Paul brought in Montana Love, a fighter who has sparred Davis himself to sharpen his game. He's even been spotted working on Mayweather's famed shoulder roll in sparring sessions. It's clear Paul views this not just as spectacle, but as a chance to validate his unorthodox boxing journey. Still, the size difference is glaring. Joe Rogan put it plainly, 135 versus 200. That is so nuts. Davis, a lifelong lightweight, will be giving up more than 40 pounds against a naturally larger opponent who has campaigned at cruiserweight. On paper, Davis's skill set, experience, and pedigree should overwhelm Paul, but the optics remain bizarre. A matchup that blurs the line between combat sport and carnival show. Analysts are divided. Some, like Oscar De La Hoya, insist Davis cannot be considered the face of boxing because of inactivity. Others, like Robert Garcia,
He's a 135-pound world champion, lightweight world champion. The guy's my height. He's 5'5", and Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You know, he walks around at sort of like 15 stone. So, and it's an exhibition. So look, if you buy into that, then yeah, fine. But it's not really. I think, yeah, definitely. I think I fancy my chances. I think Gervonta Davis actually beats him as well. He's one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world at lightweight. But it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's like you got a guy of 5'5" boxing a guy of 6 foot plus. Cruiserweight, yeah, it's just all a little bit odd. I thought if they're going to do an exhibition, perhaps Jake should have picked someone more his size. Look, his last fight against Julio Chavez Jr. Was at cruiserweight. Chavez Jr. was a former world champion at middleweight himself, and that sort of made sense. And it was a good win for Jake Paul. You know, he come out there and he beats an ex-world champion. He gets a little bit of credibility, and you go, right, now you're heading in the right direction. You're starting to be okay, all right. Former champions, former fighters, but at least they're boxers. They're not MMA stars, you know, and whatnot. So, yeah, I think that was a move in the right direction. Gervonta Davis is just a little bit of a freak show.
Watch the Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis presser.
The first one was weird just because Gervonta didn't look like he wanted to be there. And I'm like, dude, like, you're getting paid a lot of money. You need to start the sell. Like, you need to start the sell. The second one, Gervonta kind of maybe woke up a little bit. There was a money bet placed. Did a little push and a shove. It still seems weird for me, if I'm honest with you. The difference, when they kind of just square up, the size difference is just, it's a lot. Like, if Gervonta was just a couple of inches taller, I'd be like, okay, cool. But because he is so small, like really small, like I know they've put down, what they said, a 195-pound limit. I mean, what's Gervonta gonna weigh? 150? What's he gonna weigh? Really, what's he gonna weigh? So he's still gonna be 40 pounds smaller.
Dismiss the Paul fight as an embarrassment that robs fans of more meaningful matchups. Spencer Oliver acknowledged Paul's progress against names like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but still labeled the Davis fight a freak show. Meanwhile, fighters from other sports, like UFC champion Sean O'Malley, admit they're intrigued simply by the size, disparity, and the chaos of it all. In truth, you're left with a matchup that feels more like a cultural event than a traditional prize fight. For Davis, it's the chance to leave boxing with a final statement, one last knockout to silence doubters. For Paul, it's validation that his crossover experiment has earned legitimacy. Either way, the fight will divide fans, but it will be watched. And when the bell rings, you'll be watching to see whether Davis's pedigree erases the size gap, or whether Jake Paul pulls off one more shock that shakes the sport to its core.